Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Aligned as Fuck. This episode is going to talk about 10 lessons that I learned in life that changed everything for me. Whether you're just starting your business and your creative path and, building something, or you're in the middle of all of that, I think that it's something that is important for you to know because it can happen to anyone in any time. But especially if you're just starting out, this is very important for you to hear. Because some of those lessons I learned the hard way and it was really, really annoying. And I wish somebody would have told me before. But sometimes, you learn the hard way. Sometimes you need to walk the path in order to know that, this is not your path. And sometimes you need to make mistakes to learn from them. And sometimes you need to meet assholes on the way to know what an asshole is. That being said, let's jump into number one. Protect your peace. So as a business owner, as a creative person, as a person in this universe, as a human being, you're gonna meet people in your life that gonna suck the energy out of you. You're gonna meet assholes. You're gonna meet people that will want to exploit you, that gonna want to destroy you, that gonna talk to you in a bad way. You're gonna meet haters. You're gonna meet unsatisfied clients. But clients it's fine, is whatever, it's something you can deal with, it's a part of being a business. But especially when you're working with somebody and you notice that they are not a good partner to have, you need to know how to set boundaries and how to protect your peace. If you want a very detailed episode about how to recognize signs of a person who's going to suck your energy from you or a toxic person, you can watch this episode right here because I'm talking about toxicity there. I'm talking about people, in red flags that you need to pay attention to because, especially if you're trying to create a business with somebody or, romantic relationship, a friendship, you need to pay attention to those signs because those are dangerous signs and you should not do business with toxic people. But even if we're not talking about toxicity and about, like energy vampires, sometimes some people are just not good people. And sometimes when you're too nice and you say yes all the time and you're trying to, make everyone happy, people will exploit that and people will try to ride on you until you just can't anymore. So one thing that I learned is that it's okay to say no. And a person that you're saying no to should be able to handle that and deal with that and respect that no from you. And if there's something you don't want to do, say no to it. Because you know what you want, what you need, what you don't need. So don't do favors to anyone that take out of you, Obviously, I'm not talking about things like, helping out a family member, even if when it's not convenient, not things like that. But make sure you have your boundaries set and make sure that you communicate those boundaries to other people because it can be very risky, especially if you're just starting out and building your network of people. The second thing that I learned is that growth happens in waves. It's not something that just goes like this and then you're up and high and you're just gonna stay there forever. It's like a wave, So when you start something, you're gonna have really good days when you feel like you achieved so much and you just like skyrocketed. And then you're going to have days when you just kind of stay still and nothing moves and there's no clients and, everything is kind of weird and floating in the air. And sometimes you're going to have days when everything comes crushing on you and you feel like it's the end of the freaking world. It's all part of that. Don't freak out when that happens. So highs, lows, middles, when everything is boring, it's all part of the process. It's going to happen. Don't freak out when it does. Just understand that it's just one of those days. Things are always changing. Things are dynamic, especially in business. And, as I always say, as I said, like maybe in each episode of the first season, is that we're humans and our mood changes and our motivation changes and our habits can change and life can change. Sometimes you go through something in life and if you are a business owner, if you're building something, and you're your own boss, your personal life can get in the way. Obviously, we can say, oh, don't let your personal life in the way of your business, blah, 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 whatever. Yes, all true, but we are humans, and sometimes shit happens that kind of throw us off, and it's okay. It happens. Just know it's just another day. Nothing is the end of the world. Which also leads me to my next lesson that I learned, and it's that consistency beats motivation. Sometimes we're not going to feel motivated. Sometimes we're going to feel tired and sad and broken or broke or, whatever it is. But if you are building your entire empire on motivation alone, it's just not going to be enough. And my dog's going to bark any moment now. Chooch, come here. Come here. Yeah. But I'm doing an episode now, so you can bark at the neighbors, okay? That's Chooch. He wanted to be a part of it, so he's gonna behave, right? Because we're recording. Yes, yes. Where was I? Yes, you can't build an empire on motivation alone. You need to build those habits that you're doing anyway, no matter what. As I said, life gets on the way. Sometimes, if you're going through something horrible, if something, God forbid, something happens that requires you to like rethink or rest or go for a few weeks or whatever it is that you need to do, it's okay. It's fine. We're not mechanical. We need to recharge our energy and our mind needs to be clear. Everything is understandable. And I'm not talking about those case scenarios when, things happen. I'm talking about, like when you wake up in the morning and you have a bad day and you're like, oh my God, I'm tired of this fucking business. Nothing is working out for me, blah, blah, blah. And you just don't do anything. In those moments, it's so important that you still do something, that you keep your habits, that you keep the consistency flowing because motivation comes and goes. But when you have habits, when you wake up in the morning and you know that you need to spend now like, I don't know, half an hour working on your business because you have a deadline, that will beat the motivation because sometimes the motivation will even come while you're doing that. But don't let yourself slide too often. And if you do have a tendency to let yourself slide too often because of like personal things, because of emotions, because of feelings and, whatever it is that you're going through in life, it's a really good tactic to build this consistency and to work on consistency and habit building in order to continue working. Number 4, doubt is part of the process. I cannot express this enough to you, but the amount of people that I talk to all the time, artists, business owners, entrepreneurs, creatives, honestly, almost everyone who's not like full of themselves, everyone has doubts. Everyone. Whatever project you're working on, whatever song you created, whatever photograph you took, whatever idea you had, creative people and, just people that have businesses and people that do something for themselves, we feel so much responsibility for whatever it is that we're creating, providing, showing, selling. There's a lot of doubt there. Everyone feels that sometimes. That's okay. It's okay to start a business and think, I don't know. I don't know if it's maybe, I don't know if it's good enough. I don't know if it's okay to feel that. Don't express that to your clients. Don't express that to the customer. You don't want to, like you yourself as a consumer, you don't want to hire somebody who's going to tell you, I'm not sure I can do the job. I mean, I'm not that good. You don't want that, right? So it's okay to have this internal doubt. It's going to happen, but don't feed into it. Don't let it, consume you. Understand that it's there. It's very human to have those doubts, but just let it go. Understand that it's part of it and continue and keep going and don't express it to other people. Because as I mentioned in one of my previous episodes is what you tell people about yourself, that's what they're going to think. If you tell them that you're not that good, they're not going to perceive you as good. They're going to think that you're not that good. If you tell them, oh, well, yeah, I'm a photographer, but I'm like, I don't know, it's not my best work. So that's what you're presenting. And that's horrible for business. Be confident, always. It's okay to admit mistakes when you make them, but, just doubts? Nah, keep them to yourself and your therapist. You can also share them with your dog because they love you no matter what. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Sorry, moment of weakness. Number 5, and I talk about it all the time, but as creative business owners, entrepreneurs, humans, we tend to cling to the idea of perfect and not ready. And perfect doesn't exist, and I always say that. Stop waiting for being ready. You're never gonna feel like you're ready 100%. So just start. If you have an idea, if you have something, just start. I know it's like, so that's actually a lesson that I learned pretty early, thank God, because I know people to this day that didn't start while I'm like running a business and doing and learning from my mistakes. They didn't start because they didn't feel like they're ready and it wasn't perfect enough. And, in the end of the day, perfect doesn't exist. And it doesn't matter when they gonna start. They gonna have challenges and doubts and they're gonna feel like they can do better all the time. You can always do better. We always learn. And I talked about it in my previous episodes. So if you want to watch it, it's one of my episodes from the previous season. I think it's number 10. I'll link it down below. But yeah, don't wait for perfect and don't wait for I'm not ready. Just start. You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna figure it out. Which leads me to my next point, which I also mention quite often, and it's that failure, it's only when you give up. When you say, I'm done, that's when you fail or move on. If you decided that's not for you and you want to move on to something else, that's not failure. Failure is when you give up completely. When you say, I'm not cut up for this. I'm not good enough. Ugh, I'm just tired of working so hard. I just want to stop. That's failing. That's failing. When you really like give up, hands in the air, leave me alone. I don't want to do this anymore. But when you make mistakes, when you encounter challenges, when you come to a wall that you need to understand how to overcome, when you have barriers, when you have, any issues with the business or the service or whatever it is that you're building, that's natural. You're gonna have challenges. A lot of them, especially if you're starting your own thing, your own business. There is endless amounts of problems that you need to encounter, that you need to learn from, that you need to overcome. Those are challenges, not failures. An unsatisfied client is not a failure. Is a challenge, is a mistake maybe that you need to learn from. If you, after this one unsatisfied client, you're gonna give up, close the business, and go move back with your mom, that's a failure. But learning from your mistakes and becoming better and growing from those mistakes, that's good. By the way, while talking about failure, even if you give up, you close your business, you move back with your parents, and you stay in bed for 2 months. If you get up after 2 months, or 6 months, or a year, or 2 years, or however much time you need to get over yourself, and you say, you know what? I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to try again. I want to do it again. There you go. Not failure. You're doing it again. You're gonna go for it again. You fell down, you got knocked out. You're gonna stand up and you're gonna move and you're gonna do something and you're gonna fix that. Capiche? Good. What else do we have here on the list? I'm an old school type. I print everything. Also, because my computer is over there recording everything I'm saying, so kind of need to work with that. What else? What else? Number seven. Number 7. Yeah. Okay, so that one. Number 7 is like so close to my heart because every time I feel like I just want to like cry it out and, just complain about how life is not fair and why it's happening. And you know what? Life is not fair. Because fair doesn't exist. It doesn't. It's like fair or not fair. It's such a weird term because what is fair? I mean, what's fair is for everyone to be happy and have enough money to eat and, to be satisfied with their life and have a perfect relationship and, look the way they want to look and be healthy. That's fair, right? So what else can be fair? Fair is when you're a good person, you get good things. When you're a bad person, you get karma, right? Do we know that that's what's happening? No, that's not how life goes, right? This idea of fair, like sometimes a bad person will get good things, good things will happen to them and it will work out. And sometimes good people will suffer. I'm not gonna get into why that's happening. I'm not gonna get into like karma and, everything's for the best, which I do believe, but it's not about that. That's not the episode. So I'm not gonna get into that. What I wanna say is that sometimes shit will happen that you wanna cry out and say, that's not fair. Why is this happening to me? Because it just happens, you know? And whether you believe it's all for the best or, you need to learn from that or it's just a bridge you need to cross or a wall you need to overcome, whatever it is, it happens, right? Like sometimes you do the best work and then this asshole got a raise, or got the promotion. And sometimes you did everything right and you got screwed over anyway. And sometimes you were the best partner and they cheated on you. That's not fair, but it happens and it sucks, but it does. So, the lesson that I learned is to stop looking for fairness, to stop blaming the universe for that being unfair because that doesn't change the result or whatever happened. It just happened. So instead of spending your energy into complaining that life is not fair, you need to find solutions to how to make wherever you're at right now better. Sounds unfair, right? That's what it is. Number 8, super important. And that's something that you might want to sit down and think about it. But number 8 is that your environment shapes your future. Basically, who you surround with, that's who you're going to be, right? So if you surround yourself with people who are not the go getters types, and they just waste their time on partying, whatever, drinking, smoking, and, dating, and that's the only thing they do in life. And they just want to go to work, finish with whatever shitty job they want to complain about, and then come back home and watch TV and get drunk and smoke some weed and then go to sleep and wake up again and do the same shit over and over again. And they don't care that they're broke. They don't care that they're unhealthy. They don't care that they don't have a relationship. They don't care about anything. They just like whatever it is, whatever happens to them in life, whether you think it's good or bad, that's on you. I'm not here to judge anyone's life's choices. What I'm saying is that if that's who you surround yourself with, that's where you're going to be. If that's where you want to be, that's fine. But if you are the go-getter kind of type, if you are the one to open a business and learn how to do that and go get this thing and, chase your dreams and get rich and, have this beautiful house or apartment or, have children or whatever you want to do, but your environment is not that environment, it's going to be very hard for you to be that one person who does that because we are affected by who we hang out with. If you hang out with motivated people whose goals are similar to yours, then you're going to grow. You need to surround yourself with people who benefit your life. Friends, business partners, relationships. You need to surround yourself with people who give you the energy and the motivation to go to get what you want to get and not the other way around. How many times have we heard about relationships when a person with all these ambitions and dreams goes into a relationship with a partner who doesn't feel anything like it? It's just it's such a mismatch, and then you see this person slowly giving up their dreams, their goals, their motivation. They adjust, they adapt, they lose what they wanted to do. How many stories like that do we hear? And it's the same thing with partners and with friends and with colleagues. You need to surround yourself with people who bring you up, not down. And that's on you to decide because here you go to a really difficult situation when you need to understand whether the people in your life benefit you or not. And then you need to decide whether you keep them in your life or not. If it's really, really hard for you, if you realize that you're surrounding yourself with people who don't benefit your life and you kind of don't know how to cut them out, if you still, want to stay friends, or maybe it's family members, so you don't really have a choice, maybe just try from now on to surround yourself with people that can help bring you up, that can help you develop. Go to these networking events, meet people, meet friends that benefit you. Just know who you are there to meet. And I know it's not easy. And I know that this point for some of you might sound very superficial and might sound very shallow and selfish. But in the end of the day, you need to take care of you and your future. And if the people, your environment is dragging you down, that's on you. You can stay there, but you're going to find yourself down. And then you're going to blame them for that. And that's not their fault. That's just who they are. But it's your choice who you spend your time with. Chooch, come here. Come here. What are you yelling about? You disagree with the last point that I said? Why don't you introduce point number 9? What's point number 9? So since Chuj didn't introduce point number 9, I'm going to introduce point number 9. Point number 9, it's about consistency. Consistency creates freedom. The more you invest in yourself now, the better your life is going to look like. You need to have discipline over yourself if you want to achieve your goals and dreams. You can't slide way too often and then blame the universe or the world or, anyone else for that matter that something is not going right for you. Let me give you an example. If you want to lose weight, but you keep eating junk and you keep overeating and drinking sodas and, snacks and just not watching your diet overall, that's on you. You can't really then complain in 2 years why you have a heart problem or why you overweight or why you can't, run for too long. Like, that's on you. That's your responsibility. So the same thing goes with business. When you're trying to build a business, when you're trying to get clients, for example, the last episode I did about cheap ways to market your business. If after watching this episode, you're going to tell me that you can't find clients, that's on you because I gave you 5 or 6, I don't even remember how many. I gave you so many examples of how you can get clients for free, how you can market yourself and your business for like $5 a day or even less. So if you watch this episode and you're not doing it, and then in 6 months you're gonna be like, I started this business, but it just didn't work out for me because I couldn't get a client and it was too expensive and it just flopped and didn't work. That's on you. Did you do the work? Because if you didn't, you're the one to blame. And this is the reality of it. But if you want the success, right, Chuch? Come here. Yes. If you want the success and if you want the freedom, the financial freedom and the freedom to have your own business, stay consistent and be strict with yourself. You don't need to kill yourself, you need to have a life, you need to be happy, but be consistent and stay disciplined. Because the more disciplined you are now, the faster you're gonna get to what you're trying to get. We almost finished. Stay with me. By the way, I got so distracted with everything. So if you're still here and watching, thank you so much. Please, if you like the episode because it helps my algorithm and I'll be so, so grateful. Also, you can also subscribe. I mean, it's right there. It's free. There you go. Free marketing to my business. Ha! Yes, I'm trying to get monetized as fast as possible because, as you know, I'm trying to make it my income. So if you like the episode, it will help me so, so, so much if you like and subscribe. It helps me grow and I will achieve my goals faster with you. That was a great pitch. See? Free marketing right there. There you go. Anyway, you guys, before I go crazy here, the next point and the last one, and the one that you always, always need to remember, although I have so many more lessons, but this is it for today. The last one is that everything is temporary. Whatever you're going through right now is temporary. Life is dynamic and it changes all the time. So you need to be prepared. When everything is going bad, just remember that it's temporary. Things will get better with your dedication, with your discipline, with the right mindset, with you working hard and believing in yourself and doing the work. Things will get better. Also remember, that's kind of like a depressing one, but also remember that when things are going really well, be prepared that it may shift any moment. So if you made a huge amount of money from this one client, keep the money. Don't go buy the new car immediately. Don't go put everything for like the mortgage, right, of your dream house. Slowly, consistently, build it, have a safety net. Understand that things are changing all the time. So you need to be prepared for that change. So whether it's good or bad, it might change. And I hope that for you, it's just always going to go up and up and up and become better. But, things change in life. Be prepared for it. COVID happened. It was nobody's fault. But when COVID happened, people who didn't have any savings and lost their job, it was a big struggle for them. So be the person, the responsible person that, God forbid, if something happens again like that, you are prepared for that. You have your savings, you have multiple streams of income, you have something else that you can fall onto, but always be prepared that life is dynamic and changing for the good or the bad. I hope you enjoyed this episode. My name is Vika. Like and subscribe, and I will see you in 2 weeks for another fun episode.